Welcome back to Ask a Lawyer. Mark, I'd like to talk about car accidents. Sooner or later, people are going to be in one, and when it happens quickly, and you don't know what to do or when to do it, so I'd like to just kind of go through the steps. If you're in a crash that does cause injury, what should you do first? Obviously 911, and then what's the next step?
Well, there's some things that you always should do, and one would be to make sure that law enforcement comes and does a report of the accident. If somebody says, I don't really want to call the police, I've got points on my license, my insurance is going to go up, you need to have law enforcement come out and document that the crash took place, document the damages and the injuries, and then if necessary, seek medical care.
So regardless of the situation, have it documented.
Always.
And don't just exchange license and information and
always have law enforcement come and document it.
Okay, so that happens, and then you go through the medical situations, and then you're going to be dealing with insurance companies. Tell us about that.
Well, you will often be contacted, particularly if you are not at fault in the motor vehicle crash, by the other party's insurance, assuming they have bodily injury coverage. And an insurance adjuster's job is to get that claim resolved as quickly and as cheaply as they can. So someone may visit you at home, somebody may call you at home. Some companies even have rapid response teams that get in a vehicle and go to the scene of the crash and try to resolve it right there.
So they're there before you've even left where the accident happened?
That does happen. If they receive notification and they are one of the companies with a rapid response team, that does happen. Yeah.
And you're shook up at the time and probably need some time to think about it before you respond. And
certainly, there's nothing wrong with an insurance company coming and documenting what happened on the scene. Their job is to look out for their insured. You would want your insurance company to do that for you. Where you need to be careful is when it's time to talk about what it will take to resolve the claim, either for property damage or personal injury or both. You need to be sure that you know what you're signing, because an insurance company is going to require you to execute a release absolving the insurance company and their insured, the person who caused the accident, of all future liability.
So when you sign these documents, at what point do you decide, you know what, I better run this by an attorney?
Well, if you have any degree of discomfort with what you're doing, you should call and consult with a lawyer about it. If it's in the day after the accident, do you truly know what the extent of your injuries are as a result of the accident? Lots of people can tell you that I thought I was okay at the time of the crash, and I woke up the next morning and I could barely get out of bed and sought medical care. And then there are issues of herniated discs or injuries to the neck or the back that need to be looked at and cared for by a medical specialist. So it is not wise to do something immediately after the crash. Take a couple of days, take a deep breath, make sure that you know what you're doing before you sign anything with the insurance company. And if you have the least bit of discomfort, call and consult with a lawyer and ask them his or her opinion.
Because you may not feel you even need medical attention until the next day. And if you've signed off at the scene, like you just said, with those rapid response vehicles that arrive, then you've already messed up your case if you have one?
You may have. Depends on the release. If you think you're signing a release for property damage, and the release sets forth that this resolves all claims for property damage and personal injury, it's going to be very difficult, extremely difficult, to go back later and say, I didn't know what I was signing. I do have injuries as a result of this accident, and I shouldn't be held to the release. That's going to be very difficult to overcome.
So there's really no reason to ever sign something at the scene?
There really is not. There's nothing that's going to occur between the day of the accident and the next day or the next week which would rush you to signing something. If an insurance adjuster were to say, I'll offer this now, but I won't offer it tomorrow, you really need to take a step back and confer with somebody who can give you advice on that. If they're telling you that, there's a reason for that, and you need to be awfully careful before you sign anything.
Yeah, they wouldn't offer that if that weren't the case. Well, that's good information, because when an accident does happen, it happens quickly, and if we know this information ahead of time, we can refer back to it and say, wait a minute, I'm going to take a deep breath. Maybe I'll give an attorney a call and run it by them and see what they think.
Picking up the phone and asking questions is always an option.
Thank you.
You're welcome.